So what do you do when you have two dogs that are fighting? And that is, they're supposed to get along. At least we think they should get along, but they don't seem to agree with that. And so I want to tell you about what happened to our dog. And that way it'll give you an appreciation of, oh, that's what happens here. So this was our first dog that we had. So her name was Courtney. And she was at battle with another dog that actually was very similar to her size. Courtney was a lab cross pit bull, and she was a sweetie. Loved other dogs, but not this one. And the other dog was almost identical in size. Was a lab cross. And so we had Courtney that was black, the other one was brown, and I'm going to call the other one Herbie for a moment. And the thing about them was that if they were out together, running around in the forest or anything like that, which they did at our place, they were fine. There was no problems. The issue we had was that if either of the owners went to pet their dog or pay attention to their dog, that would elevate, what we called it, elevate that one enough that they said, okay, I'm going to go and attack the other one. And so that happened a couple of times, and it happened at our place and it happened at the other dog's place. And so it wasn't place specific. It was actually specific on which owner was paying attention to which dog. So if the owner was paying attention to their dog, it brought them up, and bingo, we had a fight on our hands. They didn't cause any damage. It sounded really good. It sounded very vicious, but there was never any damage in the process, thankfully. But what it told us is we knew what the trigger was. And in this case, the trigger was the owner paying attention to their dog. And so how do we avoid the fight? Really easy. We don't pay attention to the dogs when they're together in our presence. Okay. And as long as we didn't do that, they got along pretty good. And they seem to be, doing well in that sense. So the key is you have to know what the trigger is. And the trigger can be resources, which is probably what was going on here. It can be food, obviously. That's a big one. Sometimes it's place, and that is, I'm going to protect my place and you can't come near it. It could be other dog friends. So there's a lot of different things that can be the sort of the trigger for the aggression. Interestingly, both of them were spayed bitches. And that is where you tend to see most of the problems, according to the behaviorists. It's not male to male, and it's not male to female. It's female to female. And so definitely that can be the trigger. If they're closer to in size, and that is you have a dog that weighs 50 pounds, another one weighs 52 pounds type of thing, which was the case with Courtney and Herbie. Yeah, that it seems to bring about the right situation for them. When you have a big dog, little dog, they don't seem to have any problems. They don't seem to have the conflict that's going on. So anyway, the case with this was, well, just don't pay attention to the other dog and we can avoid it. And that was pretty easy to do. When you have just a situation where dogs just don't seem to get along, then you have to go into desensitizing program. You have to figure out what's going on, and that way you can implement something where you can stop them from getting fighting in the process. So the key is you have to learn it, you have to watch it, see what's going on in the situations. If you don't do that, if you're not willing to spend that time, you're not going to get ahead very easily. And as I always say, there's no magic pill that you can give these dogs to get them to get along. And so you need to get into the behavior. If you want to move into that and find out, there's certainly some information for you, and I've created a link below. So have a look at that and see if that interests you. But otherwise, the main thing is try and avoid the problems if you can identify what the triggers are. And if you can, wonderful. Then you can go through a desensitization and, as we call it, counter conditioning program. And it works very well. So good luck with the dogs. Take care.